Welcome back to KMG Power Sports. Now, I've gotten a lot of requests on how to adjust a chain on a small four-wheeler. We have many of the little 110cc as well as the 125cc four-wheelers, and they're very similar in the way you adjust a chain on them. It's something that is required for regular maintenance, especially when your kid comes in and goes, hey, my chain came off again. Well, usually because the chain is too loose or worn, but in this case, just too loose. And I'm going to show you how to tighten it up. First thing I like to do is remove this chain cover here. It's not completely necessary, but it does allow me to see the chain and make sure that the chain is straight and correct. And the way these attach, they vary from model to model. All right, now I got a pretty good idea of this, what's going on here. So this chain has a lot of slop right now. You're looking for not more than maybe a half an inch of slop. This has got at least a good inch, so definitely way too loose. So I'm going to start with the adjustment bolts. What happens here is this carrier is adjusted. By turning it backwards, it moves it out and in turn tightens the chain. So it hinges up here and adjusts, or well, your adjusters are attached to the bottom. So all those bolts need to be loose as well. Then you use your adjusters to tighten it. So we'll start with the easy bolts on top. On this one, it's 13 on the outside, 15 on the inside. And mind you, they're probably going to be pretty tight, especially if it's never been adjusted. And again, you don't have to take them off. You just simply have to loosen them. All right. Those are just loosened. Now to get to the bottom bolts. Those are a little harder to get to. Slide my wrench in, grab the outside of the bolt. And not to be confused with these bottom bolts, because these hold your skid plate on underneath it. You leave these alone. You just want to loosen the bolts that the adjusters are on. Again, not super loose, just give them a little snug. Then on these, you've got a outer nut. It is a nylock nut. Loosen it, which allows the inner nut to turn. That's just there to hold things in place. All right. So I'm going to start with the right side by tightening my adjustment bolt, which appears to be a 14. All right. Yeah, on this one, the inner bolt is slightly larger than the outer. And it's going to give it a couple of turns, just enough to bring it back just a tad. So I know I don't need a lot of adjustment here. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this bolt back up. Reason being, if I start tightening this side, it is going to pull this side back, which in turn takes the right side and pushes it forward. I'm trying to prevent this. I'm trying to keep the axle perfectly straight. I knew I needed to bring this one back just a little bit, so now I'm going to go ahead and snug that bolt back up so this side can no longer move. Not going to get crazy tight with it, just enough. And now, the side's already come back a little bit, just because of the way this is hinged. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, there's my ½ inch of free play. Right there. Now I go ahead and tighten this bolt behind the left-hand adjuster. Double check this one here. I know everything's good. I go ahead and make it nice and tight. And in turn, do my top bolts. Now, move over to the left here a little bit and look right up the sprocket. Make sure your sprocket and your counter sprocket and your chain are all in one line. Make sure it's not off one way or the other. And as you can tell, this is as straight as an arrow, which means that my chain is going to track correctly. Double checking the tension. I got about 1/2 inch, so that is perfect. Give it a quick shot of chain lube. Chain lube is important. Keeps it from stretching, keeps it from wearing. And the adjuster goes, or the chain guard goes back on. And really, that's it. It's about a less than 5-minute job. So, hope you find this useful. Hope you do this every time you change your oil, or just periodically, depending on how often it needs it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or any other videos that you'd like to see, be sure to leave it in the comments below, and we'll try to get something else published. Meanwhile, if you can please subscribe and like our video, that way when new stuff comes out, you'll always be the first ones to see it. Thank you so much for watching.